Yo! Yes, everybody, we are back for some more One Piece! Wahoo! Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. Now, usually, I would probably hold off on recording this video until like next month or give it to y'all next month. I ain't gonna lie though, y'all. And listen, I know what y'all gonna say. Davey, you used to slander One Piece. You used to hate this shit. I have been enthralled. I've literally been like, I blasted through Water 7 and I blasted through Enies Lobby in like a week. I was having a great time. After Skypiea, I wanted more. I don't know what prompted me to take such a large break after Alabasta, but man, I was ready to jump back into it after reading Skypiea, man. I couldn't hold myself. And man, oh man, did I have a treat. Was I in for a ball. Now, I will definitely say that people overhyped Water 7. Water 7 was good, but I feel like Enies Lobby was the payoff. I feel like as an arc, Water 7 was all of the setup, and then I was pleasantly surprised with how hard Enies Lobby hit me. So very, very, very good stuff to cover in this. I'm very excited. Again, this is going to be a longer One Piece video, so before we jump into this video, please, number one, make sure you leave a like. Make sure you subscribe. If you'd like to be a larger part of the community, please hit the Discord link down in the comments below. We would love to have you. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's go ahead and let's jump into the Water 7 saga of One Piece. So before Water 7 officially starts, we have the Long Ring Long Island arc. And just to quickly summarize my thoughts about that arc.
Approximately 10 hours later.
Yeah, I will say I was not the biggest fan of this arc. I know that One Piece is primarily a very humorous series, and I usually enjoy it, but I just, Foxy and his gang, they weren't that funny. I knew that the Straw Hats weren't going anywhere. I know that nobody was actually getting traded. And yes, I know that the overall theme of this was specifically to highlight the relationships that the Straw Hats have with each other and just how strong their bond really is. And Luffy saying, you know, I'll die before I let a teammate go. Or, you know, Luffy saying, I'll die before I let a crewmate out of my hands. Or something like that. And I know that directly goes with Water 7 and Enies Lobby, but like I feel like we've seen this time and time again. I feel like with Arlong Park and Nami, we knew this, right? We know how strong a bond that the Straw Hats have with each other. So this arc didn't really move me, man. It wasn't that funny. It wasn't really that entertaining. Part of the reason it wasn't entertaining is because there was no actual competition. It's not like the Foxy gang were actually good at any of these challenges. They cheated. They cheated the entire time. I do think that Zoro and Sanji working together, I thought that was pretty humorous. I love the design that Luffy had for a little bit with his fight against Foxy with the big afro and the skull on his chest. That was actually really funny. That did get a chuckle out of me. And I liked Luffy kind of using his brain and hiding the mirror in his boxing glove. That was a really nice change of pace for the arc, because Luffy was getting beat on, but it was just weird because we literally went from like Crocodile to Luffy getting beat on by Foxy. Like, come on now, like you know, it's like WAPO, bro. Like we go from like NL, like a literal thunder god, to Foxy. Listen, I understand that like power escalation, all that. It's not fun all the time. I like some lower stakes arcs, but just there's nothing intimidating about this. It's just odd to me. I don't know. It wasn't really doing it for me. I must confess. Wasn't horrible, wasn't all that entertaining, wasn't that great to me personally. Moving on to Water 7. Now, as we move on to Water 7, we have the Straw Hats finding out that the Mary Go is in dire straits. She's basically falling apart at the seams, and they need to find a shipwright and to hear about the city of Water 7. Now, at the end of Long Ring Island, we have the introduction of Aokiji. Now, Aokiji, number one, I really like his design. Number two, this is, what was it, like probably the third time that Luffy has run into somebody that just absolutely outclassed him and like absolutely just like put their dick on the table and just like, listen, bro, there's a bigger fish in this ocean. Hold on, little brother. You ain't all that. Hold on, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? Aokiji absolutely decimated the Straw Hats, and just how casual he was with everything like that. He's just, you know, doing his job. He's lazy. And then we have Robin seeing him, and we know that there's something going on with Robin, but we don't know exactly what. We don't know the intricacies of her backstory until later on within Enies Lobby and Water 7. But we have this mystery instantly spark up, and as soon as Aokiji shows up, then that was actually interested. Then I was actually like, hold on, wait a minute. Then I sat back in my chair. I'm like, oh, I'm locking in, y'all. Hold on, wait a minute. I'm back. I'm back, because your boy was a little sleepy with Long Ring Island. I ain't gonna lie, I was not feeling that. So we go from Long Marine Island to officially to Water 7, and I like the design of the City of Water. It's very reminiscent of the North Pole from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Not just with water, but just like, the overall architecture and everything like that. It's basically a city full of shipwrights, and they don't have an official military or anything like that. You have the Galila, and it's these basically the shipbuilders union of like super strong guys. And you have Rabalucci, Kaku, Jadambe. What's it? I forget the wolf guy's name. And basically have all these cool guys, and they seem pretty nice. Now I remember seeing Rabalucci somewhere, but like I was like, I've heard that name before, but I didn't know. I was like, oh, well, I guess, did Luffy do something in Water 7 to make, like, Rob Lucci hate him? Because I know they just fought a little bit ago, but I didn't know, like, I had no idea what was going on. So I was like, oh, it's going to be a rival. I had no idea who this man was, right? Which is personally a joy of mine going into One Piece, is because, like, I've always seen clips and things like that, but, like, as far as, like, the overall story, I don't know how it goes. So when I see so many things out of context, it takes like something like this, like getting spoiled on major plot points, and something like Jujutsu Kaisen, even Naruto, Demon Slayer, even like a solo leveling of a very short series compared to something this long. There are so many gaps in between that it's so hard for you to get casually spoiled online just going through the community. So I love going into this blind entirely. And so there's a bit of contention with the Straw Hats when they go to Water 7 because they get this report that Mary Go, she's actually, for lack of a better term, she's dying. And they are surprised that she even made it that far and carried them that far. And Usopp is very upset. Now, Guiezao, do me a favor, put up the screenshot that I texted you the other day when I was going through, and I randomly remembered this because they kept talking about the Mary Go. I remembered in Skypiea, I don't think I said it in my review, but there was somebody working on Mary Go one night when Usopp was asleep. Now, he thought it was a dream, but it was real, and he ran away. I texted Guiezao, I'm like, who the fuck is this? Like, who was that? That wasn't, I thought that was Connie's father, the girl from Skypiea. I thought that was her father or something, but no, he was somewhere else. So I had no idea who this was. So going into Water 7, it didn't hit me until later on when when Usopp and Franky are having a conversation, and then I'm like, I text Usopp, but we'll get there. We'll get there, chat. We'll get there. Hold on. Stay with me, y'all. Stay with me. But the crew understandably is upset about throwing away the Mary Go. This is their first ship. They've had so many adventures already, and it feels like we're still so early on into One Piece, but we've been over 400 chapters in, and it doesn't even feel like it's been that long. But we've had the Mary Go all this time. It's been around. It literally helped launch them into the sky. Without the Mary Go, they would have died. So yeah, the Mary Go has been through a lot, and Usopp understandably is very upset because he's the one doing the majority of the repairs. He's spending the most time with her. It's not even a pet. It's like its own person. And then you have the cute little design of the mask that really helps sell this emotion, because if it didn't have the mask, I don't think anybody would be nearly as emotional as they are when it comes to this arc. But I think Oda really did do himself a favor of making it that cute little design. And he actually ends up getting into an argument and fighting Luffy over the Mary Go. And now the thing is, this is, I like One Piece's writing because it doesn't outwardly state this, but the thing is, with Usopp fighting Luffy, he knows he's not going to win. He knows this. But part of Usopp's goal is to become a brave captain, and he wants to, be a brave fighter just like everybody else. But he's not superhuman. Like, he's just like Nami. He's just a regular person. He doesn't have the martial arts prowess of Sanji. He doesn't have Zoro's swordsmanship. He doesn't have the rumble fruit that Chopper has. He doesn't have a devil fruit power like Luffy, right? He's just a regular guy. And so when we go on all these crazy adventures and hijinks, yeah, you're constantly at the risk of losing your life, more so than these other people, these superhumans. So I get why it's so frustrating that he feels like he can't do anything. And Luffy actually almost slips up. And I like this because Luffy's not a perfect human being. He's not perfect. He's not a perfect protagonist by any means. And he almost says something he regrets, and Sanji kicks him. That was a really good moment. It reminded me of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies in the 90s. I talked about this this will be like 2-3 years ago. That's one of my favorite videos I've ever made on my channel. But when Leonardo and Raphael are butting heads constantly, and Raphael is like, all right, well, how about I just take my attitude and leave? And then actually, when Raphael is beaten to a coma, Leonardo was the first one there, staying by his side. He's freaking out, he's panicking, and he's sitting by his side the entire time he's in this coma, and he's worried sick, he's not eating, and April has to remind him, your brother's gonna be okay. And then when Raphael gets up, he's the first one, oh my God, Raph's up, guys, go bring food, bring water. Like, it reminded me of that, right? The camaraderie, like, yeah, you're butting heads, but at the end of the day, this is somebody I love and I cherish. I'm very passionate about this arc. There's so many things that I like. Lord have mercy, pray for my editor, y'all. This video gonna be like an hour and 10 minutes, Lord have mercy. So the gang eventually end up splitting off from Usopp, and Usopp before this actually had run into Franky, and this is kind of what sparked his whole departure from the Straw Hat crew, is the Franky gang actually jumped him and took all the money and the gold that they had from Skypiea. And I will tell you, for a hot minute, it was very hard for me to come to like Franky, because I was just like, dude, like, you're just a thug, like why did you do this? And actually, it wasn't until this past chapter that I just read that I understand why Franky was like stealing all this money and all this stuff. And I did like Franky's backstory. It didn't move me as much as Robin's, but it was still good. It was still good, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So as the Straw Hats are looking for a shipwright, the mayor of Water 7, Mr. Iceberg, he actually has an assassination attempt taken on his life. And he says that he saw Nico Robin at the scene of the crime. And the Straw Hats like, wait, what? Like Robin? Like, no, ain't no way, Robin? Like, bro, she helped Luffy at Alabasta. She was with us the entire time in Skype. What, Robin? Ain't no way, boy. Boy. And so we start this search for Robin throughout Water 7, and we need to understand why she's doing this. Now, clearly, I know that I've seen Robin in like future material of One Piece, so I know she's gonna join the crew eventually. I didn't know how long it was gonna be for. I didn't know if there's like a super long break and then Robin was back. I have no idea. Again, this is the joys of going in blind. But like, you know that there's something that doesn't make sense. Like, Robin is just acting out of character. It doesn't. No one just automatically leaves. Like, as soon as she saw Aokiji, she had the fear of God in her. It's like, why? So the Straw Hats are falsely accused of their crime, and at one point, Franky and Usopp end up meeting up. And Franky explains, like, basically the spinal column of the ship, it's no good. And Franky's like, you need to stop working on the ship. I'll build you something better. We will give her the best send-off possible. I will do everything I can, but you need to let this thing go. And Usopp can't understand it. And Franky's like, how did this thing even get here? You should have sank a long time ago. And then Usopp talks about in Skypiea when he saw that figure working on the merry-go at just like 3 like spooky scary challenge like 3 a.m. and he saw like fucking ghosts. He was freaking out. Franky reveals Usopp apparently had seen the Cloudbouter Man, which is said to be a water spirit that dwells in ships and is basically an incarnation of ships that have been cared for and loved. And apparently the merry-go was so infatuated with the Straw Hat crews and their adventures, it wanted to carry them everywhere, and it even managed to repair itself on Skypiea. Now, as far as the supernatural element of One Piece, like, this is the first time we're seeing like anything of like spirits or anything deity, like NL had said, or Eneru had said that he was a god, but obviously, you know, he was a false prophet, whatever. But this is the first time we have like actual like mythology, like something not tangible in the world of One Piece. This is really cool. I really like this reveal. And so this is the last we see of the merry-go for a decent bit. But eventually, as we progress through Water 7, we get the reveal that the Galila employees, Kaku and Lucci, are government assassins, and that Robin is working with the feds. This blew my mind. I'm like, wait, hold on, Kaku? Like the goofy, like the dude looks like Usopp's cousin? Kaku? Hey, I said, psh, ain't no way. This actually shook me, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. I was shook. I said, man, nigga, what? I thought they were just like a random assassin group or something like that, but I was like, the government? Oh, nah. And then we get to reveal that Robin had actually gone through all of this. She had ditched the Straw Hat, said, I'll never see you again, stop looking for me, she did this, to prevent a buster call from being called. Now, this is pre-Enies Lobby. We have no idea what a buster call is, and so they're like, a buster call? They're like, oh shit. So apparently a buster call is where they get 3 warships, 5 admirals, and like over 300 Navy men and Marines to come jump a whole island and blow it up. So, because the government found out where Nico Robin was, they've been looking for it, they had this bounty on her, they said, hey, we will literally kill you and the Straw Hats if you do not join our organization. That's it. And the problem is that even if she joins the organization, she still has to be taken to Enies Lobby for a trial, quote unquote. She's gonna die anyway. So we're like, oh, shoot. We gotta go save Robin! Now before this, Rob Lucci as well as the other CP9 members put the beats on the Straw Hat crew. I mean, they absolutely just mollywopped them. And so when Nami finds out this information after Luffy and Zoro had been sent back, Zoro got stuck in a chimney and Luffy for the second time got stuck between these two buildings. Well, Nami tells Luffy, like, what are you doing? We have to go. Robin's in danger. She's sacrificing herself for us. We have to go. Stop goofing around. And Luffy actually gets so mad, he pushes these two buildings apart. Now, first I'm like, well, why didn't you do that in the first place? But then I sat and I thought about it. I was like, okay, well, people had said that Luffy was stuck mentally. And it made sense to me. Luffy wasn't motivated. He was demoralized. We have seen Luffy get so angry and emotional over his crew time and time and time again. So when he hears that Robin deserted them, she's leaving, and she can't tell them why, on top of the defeat from Rob Lucci, yeah, he's gonna be demoralized. He still has that dumb look on his face, but he's not, like, he's just not in it. He's not tapped in right now. And then he hears that Robin actually is in danger. We have to go save her. Then he actually just pushes the buildings apart. Nah, that was hype. Nah, that was hype. Luffy, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Also, Zoro cutting his way out of this chimney was pretty funny because I'm just like, how did you move your wrist to do that? you cut this entire building in half with your wrist. Like, okay. Whoa there, buddy. That doesn't make sense. But I mean, also One Piece, man. Who fucking cares? And so then we get the backstory of Franky, Mr. Tom, and Iceberg. And Franky's real name is Cuddy Flam, who has the blueprints of the Pluton, which is basically this crazy weapon that Robin has been searching for this entire time. I believe it's part of the poneglyphs that Robin is looking for. I don't think it's the end all be all of the poneglyphs. There's other stuff in there, but it's part of it, and part of like Gold Roger, like going around and all this stuff. You have to forgive me. I don't remember exactly what Gold Roger has to do with the Pluton itself, but I do know that he was writing on the poneglyphs. He didn't make them because there was a civilization apparently that was around like 800 years ago that what is now the government had got rid of, and there was like a 100-year period of darkness that nobody knows about. So I'm very interested to hear what all occurred then. I'm hoping we get to go see what this civilization was because it's very interesting. I'm curious. But we get to Franky's backstory, and it is emotional. It does suck. They killed Tom for basically no reason, and he talked about, you know, doing everything with a big boom and being confident in everything that you make and never disregarding anything that you made, good or bad, taking responsibility for something that you made, right? And Franky was always the delinquent. He was always working on his own thing and not really listening. Iceberg was like, you know, the quote-unquote good son. But they both love Mr. Tom. And getting the reveal that Franky actually is a cyborg because he was totally mutilated and almost damn near eviscerated by the puffing Tom because he wanted to stop it from taking Mr. Tom away. That was a very disturbing moment for me. I was like, holy shit, dude, that was dark. Like, in his grief, he stood in front of a moving train. That's crazy. And yeah, the fact that the government set Franky up basically with his own inventions that he tossed to the side and Mr. Tom got killed for it, I mean, that's a tremendous amount of guilt for one person. Now, obviously, we know it's not Franky's fault. He didn't intend for any of that to happen, but man, that sucks. And this is where I kind of started to like Franky. I was still basically with the Straw Hats, like, you still jumped to Usopp, like, I don't like you. But I get it, right? So then we have the rescue mission on to Enies Lobby. And whoo, that is where the gas really started to kick in, y'all. Hold on. But before we move on to Enies Lobby, there was a moment that really, I was like, wait a minute, hold on. So when the Straw Hats are looking for Robin, at one point, Sanji goes, hey, Chopper, I'm going to go do my own thing for a bit. Meet up with the others whenever you can, but don't look for me. I'm going to go see what digging I can do on my own. And Sanji, obviously, you know, being a whole goofball when it comes to women, is like, oh, like, you got to understand when a woman's lying to you, right? You got to be able to see through a woman's lies as a man. And so we have Robin boarding the Puffing Tom, and we hadn't seen Sanji in like 30 chapters, maybe like 25, something like that. It was a long time we had not seen Sanji, and nobody can find her. Nobody knows where she is. There's no communication between the Straw Hats at all at this point. They're still split up. And Sanji and the train station lights a cigarette and hits that bingo. Woo! Yo, Sanji got to be Oda's favorite. There's no way that Sanji is not Oda's favorite. Like, tell me, am I crazy, y'all? Am I crazy? There is no way that Sanji gets this aura, this amount of aura every arc, and he can't. Oh, come on now. I know he's rocking the popularity polls. Who won the? Hold on, characters poll. Yep, Sanji's at 3, Zoro at 2. Makes sense. Damn, Nami at 7? Nami under Robin is crazy. What? Damn. Kaku above Ace. Yo, what were they smoking with this popularity poll? What is this? Wait a minute, bruh. Laboon clears like half this list. What are we talking about? Everybody, hold on. I'm about to start getting tilted. So then we have the raid on Enies Lobby, and dude, I mean, the entrance to this was just kicking up fast. Luffy basically initiating this raid entirely by himself and clearing out. What was it? Over 5? How many people did Luffy clear out? Like 300 by himself. I think the guy corrected himself, and at one point it was like 500, but he wasn't sure. But no, dude, Luffy was going nuts at the entrance. But I like how cunning that Sanji is behind enemy lines when it comes to like infiltration and things like that. Like, listen, everybody else is, is doing their best on the front line. Like, everybody else is playing Assassin's Creed, Black Flag. Like, Sanji's playing Metal Gear Solid. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's in there. And I like that. I like that. I like how intelligent and cunning Sanji is. Everybody has things that they're good at, but I love how consistently smart Sanji plays it, because we saw him do something very similar in Skypiea when he started trashing everything on Enel's skyship. I guess I could talk about a couple of fights on the Puffing Tom. There's nothing really here that sticks out to me. Honestly, the fight that Sanji had with the ramen guy, it was just kind of annoying. I hated it in the anime, just the way he spoke. He also wasn't really that funny, but seeing Sanji fight with his hands for the first time was pretty cool, as well as, holding these knives. I think that was really cool. If Sanji were to actually use his hands, he would be an issue. But besides that, I mean, there wasn't really anything worthy of note big time on this, so yeah. So as the raid goes on in Enies Lobby, we actually end up going to Robin's backstory, understanding why the Buster Call end up being so horrible for her, and why she basically looks frozen in fear every time she hears of one. And we actually come to understand why the government has a bounty on her. So when she was a child, she actually wanted to be an archaeologist. Her mother was an archaeologist, and she actually wanted to end up spending time with her mother, because her mother was never really around. And so this was her way basically of trying to spend time with her. That's the closest way in her mind she could get to her mother, which is sad in and of itself. And she was basically raised by her aunt, who wasn't really all that emotionally present, as well as the archaeologist on the O'Hara Island. And they're all nice, and we actually come to presumably the best day of her life, when she ends up getting recognized as an archaeologist by Clover, as well as the other members of this island. And it's all cool, it's all dandy, and then she says, hey, what about the poneglyph downstairs? And they're like, whoa, hey, you can't, that's a crime, you can't talk about that. Like, oh, do not let anybody hear you say that out loud. And she's like, but you guys sneak down there and do it every night. And the people on this island, they talk about how important history is, and that obviously everything material, everything is basically subject to, be gone after a certain amount of time. But like history, that's something intangible that you need to keep moving forever, as long as you possibly can, because that's when things truly die. Right? And so with the poneglyphs and just all these other secrets, these things, we can't let them go away. We can't let what our ancestors did die in vain and be forgotten. And so you even have this with, in real life tragic events, with things such as the Holocaust, with slavery, with, things such as the Tiananmen Square massacre, all these different things. We cannot afford to let them go, right? So I really like the message that Oda was putting here. And so then we actually end up meeting Saul, and Saul is this big goofy giant. He ends up befriending Robin, and he teaches her this really goofy laugh, and Saul actually ends up getting shook when he finds out what island he's on. He's like, I'm not on O'Hara Island, am I? And then we have to reveal that Saul was a former Navy admiral, which that took me by surprise. I'm like, this big goofy giant was a Navy admiral? I didn't see it, right? Just with his appearance and how he acted, I did not think that he was the quote-unquote Navy type. But we come to find out that Saul was the only one in the Navy with a backbone and, a moral compass. He was like, dude, why are we going around killing these people for what? Like, it doesn't make sense. And so he ended up deserting with Robin's mother. Ended up floating ashore, and the government eventually gets wind of what's happening, and they say, hey, you know what? Yeah, we heard that there's some funny stuff going on this island, man. Y'all know that if you start messing with that poneglyph, it's gonna be bad for y'all, man. You can't be doing that. That's a crime. And they know people are actively searching out for this. They absolutely, like, there's like, they couldn't even plant anything. They know that people are actively investigating what happened in that blank period of time. Something doesn't make sense. And they're like, oh, it's a weapon. It's gonna destroy the world. We gotta wield it in the name of justice. And then Franky actually at one point was like, no, he's like, this weapon was to counter what would happen if you all ran the world how you would want to do it. This would actually help saving people. It's a weapon of defense, not of just oppression, right? But then we have the island getting burned. We have Mr. Clover being killed. We have Robin's mother, running past her, not even acknowledging her until she goes to fight. We have just all this tragedy on this island. And Robin actually sees her mother. She recognizes her mother, and she's like, "Hey, it's me. I've learned how to study the poneglyphs. Aren't you proud of me?" This is a major accomplishment, especially for a 6-year-old. And she's crying out for her mother, and the government's like, "You did what? Oh nah, nuke this island today." Over a 6-year-old. That is insane, bro. That's crazy. And there's other children on this island, and they blew it the fuck up. Not to mention, they also blew up the evacuation ship as well with their own soldiers on it. Bro, the Navy is crazy. Oh, but Daffy, government could never be corrupt. Daffy, government could never willingly commit atrocities like this. Moving on. This is tragic, man. I mean, dude, and Robin on the soul raft, laughing to, try to mask the pain and try to keep it dug down. Ugh, that was rough. That was pretty emotional, seeing everything that happened on that island. And we end up having Robin and Luffy actually making contact with each other eventually. And Robin's like, "No, leave me alone. I want to die. Like, stop it. Like, I told you I don't want to see you anymore." And Spandam, who's just, I hate this dude. Like, I think I literally tweeted out, I want Sanji to literally cave in his skull cavity next time you see him with his size 11s. I fucking hate Spandam, dude. I hate him so much. And you have Robin thinking about all of this, and then she actually sees all the Straw Hats jump up, and they're actually like screaming out to her like, "Hey, we'll protect you, we'll do this," and she's not convinced. And then Spandam is like, "You see that flag? That's 170 nations that you are disrespecting by even being here, that you broke in here." He's like, "Do you know what you're doing?" And Luffy says, "What the stones on this man?" He said, "Listen, I don't give a flying fuck. I will go to war with each and every single country for a person I call a comrade and a friend. I don't care. It's worth it. Every single one of them in my crew is worth it." Now, if I told y'all that Luffy made my top 5 protagonists, what would y'all say to me, chat? Keep it a buck, women. What would y'all say? What would y'all say? And if y'all remember from Drama Island, Luffy had talked about the significance of a flag. This is someone's soul. This is their ideals. And he looked at that and he said, "Burn that shit down. I don't want to see it anymore." This nigga Oda woke up in the kitchen cooking, man. God damn. And then when Robin sees this, she starts to think of all of these horrible, tragic things that have happened to her, all these things she's had to do to survive, encountering crocodile, stealing, murdering, presumably, like all these just different horrible things. And she thinks about what Saul said to her right before he ends up dying, and he says, "I'm sure that I know that there are friends out there that you will make that will love you and protect you for who you are. Go out and find them." And eventually Robin does say, she cries out, "I want to live take me out to the sea with you. And y'all have seen the community post as I'm going through One Piece, but this is a very emotional. This hit me very hard. I had seen this moment before. Like I had seen this moment just in passing, but this hit. This was very well done. It wasn't even the "I want to live." It's the "take me out to sea with you" that just feels so human. I love both actresses, the sub and dub actress for Robin respectively. They both did a phenomenal job. The One Piece dub is very good as well. I actually find myself going back and forth whenever I am looking at the anime, just kind of compare things, some things I want to see in motion. Both actresses did a phenomenal job. And so eventually we have the Straw Hats versus CP9. We eventually have these respective square offs. We have Luffy versus Blueno, as well as Lucci. We have Zoro versus Kaku, Sanji versus Jabra, Nami versus Khalifa. Then we also have Chopper versus Kumadori, and Usopp kind of doing nothing until the very end. But it's very important what he does. Now, Luffy versus Blueno was interesting because if y'all remember, like, Luffy got blitzed, like, and just torn up by Lucci in Water 7. And Luffy's actually like, you know what? I'm glad I actually ran into you. And we know that, like, the same trick does not work on Luffy twice, and he learns. He's learning as he fights. That dumbass line from Dragon Ball Super Broly. But we see that Luffy actually stepped up his game. He actually evolves. And it's not a transformation in a traditional sense, which I really do like because I cannot stand transformations sometimes. But he actually activates Gear 2 here, and it dramatically improves his game. He starts just destroying Blueno. Like, he just absolutely just crunches him. He masters the shave technique. He has his jet bazooka in his back pocket now. Like, Luffy is actually just a problem. And we have the power levels that they end up giving out. Just to see, like, you know, where everybody is, and Lucci being like 600 and everybody else kind of, you know, being under that. And yeah, I really liked the Gear 2 smoke or steam rather, everything coming out of here, and then coming to the realization that actually Luffy is improving the blood flow within his body, and you know, pumping up his metabolic processes. And normally it would kill a person's heart, but because Luffy is made out of rubber, it actually, you know, this is the one thing he's able to do that nobody else can. And actually, it's a buff, and it's like a Kaioken basically. And I really like this. Very cool, very cool. Much needed power for my boy Luffy here. We end up getting to Nami versus Khalifa, and I do like Nami's fights, man. Nami's fights are very interesting. They are very entertaining. I love seeing because Nami, she can't do like a Zoro or like a Sanji or like a Luffy. Like, she has to use her brain, like Usopp, right? She's a normal person, so she has to be a lot more cunning. And so I thought that her fight was pretty entertaining. It was very funny seeing Sanji like turn into like that whatever doll. Like, just like completely smooth and super clean. That was very weird to see in the anime, in the manga as well. But no, Nami actually, she did her thing in that fight, man. Don't really have any other thoughts besides that. Then we have Chopper versus Kumadori. Now, this was very interesting to me because, like, Chopper was getting worked, right? And Chopper doesn't usually have his own dedicated fights. The last person he fought was the dude with the freaky hair in Skypiea. But besides that, Chopper doesn't really get an opportunity to like fight and square off against other people. But then Chopper actually, on the verge of death, I believe he takes the Rumble Fruit 3 times, and he actually activates his monster form. This actually kind of scared me. I was like, whoa, Chopper! Like, what? I was like, why do you look like that, dog? This is like, he looks like that thing from The Ritual. If you've ever seen that movie, it gave me that same feeling. I was like, dude, Chopper looks scary as hell. Oh my god. And actually going berserk and just absolutely just obliterating Kumadori and just attacking everything in sight. So I hope that Chopper eventually learns to handle this form, and I mean, most likely it will. It's an anime, it's a shonen. Let's be honest with it. It's like, it's, you know, it's eventually gonna happen. But I like seeing Monster Point Chopper, man. I like it, and I like Chopper kind of taking it upon himself to, you know, get stronger. I want to see him, you know, be able to defend himself more. And we've had this before in Skypiea, where he was talking about you being somebody that everybody can rely on, not being a nuisance. So I like that. I like that a lot. Then we have Sanji versus Jabra. Now, Sanji versus Jabra was pretty interesting too, because Usopp, for some reason, the king of tricks himself, just believed something that Jabra said and ends up like getting mortally injured. That was kind of stupid. But then Sanji actually reveals Diablo Jambe, I think is how it's called. He actually spins so quick, he lights his leg on fire and actually hits him with spice. I like the spin on fire powers, but more so with Sanji, it's related to cooking, where he talks about, like, you know, we have the ingredients from the gods, everything like that, but the spices are from the devil, right? I like that. I like that moment. Let's talk about Zoro versus Kaku. Listen, y'all know I'm a Zoro fan. I like this fight a lot. Now Zoro, my boy Zoro, was getting worked by Kaku in that first one. I'm gonna give it to Zoro. I'm gonna just say that he was exhausted and tired and just kind of caught off guard the first time he fought Kaku. I'm gonna just say that. But something that with Zoro's fights that I really did not like in Skypiea was the fact that he just kind of turned around with Ohm and was like, all right, I'm done losing this fight now. Something similar happens here, but I think it was just a natural progression of what happened. Not to say that they got a Zenkai boost, all the Straw Hats did, but like they talk about how strong they've gotten with all these near-death experiences like that. But we have this goofy thing where Kaku turns into a giraffe, and that I was actually rolling for most of watching, especially when he turns into a cube and starts kicking the air. That was pretty funny. But then you have, in the middle of their fight, Kaku looks at Zoro and he's like, "What the hell did I just see?" He sees like a apparition up here where Zoro was. He's like, "The fuck was that?" And at one point, as they're fighting, Kaku says he can create illusions based off of raw willpower alone, and Zoro uses the 9 sword style, Asura's Mist. Nigga, what? Bro, oh my god. Number one, the art here, fantastic. Number two, do you realize how raw a nigga has to be so powerful and so locked in battle? You start seeing shit. At first I thought he was just like spinning around real quick and it is giving like the appearance of that, but no, like literally that's not real. I think this has to do with like hockey shenanigans. I've heard that term thrown around in One Piece's power system. I'm assuming it's like ki, nen, whatever, but like it's not real, but it gives his opponents this feeling of, oh my god, like this dude is so strong, he's got 9 swords. Like it's basically like psyching yourself out. Like, you ever see somebody like so good at a game they call him like a demon or a monster? Yeah, it's like that. Like just yes. More Zoro Glaze, Oda. More Zoro Glaze. Feed me, Oda. Poppy's hungry. Feed me. Now, while I will say that I am definitely a fan of Zoro and his fights, one thing that does kind of bother me is that all the other Straw Hats seem to get development for their characters, but Zoro seems to be lacking. Zoro, I mean, Nami had Arlong Park, Chopper had Drum Island, as well as, you know, some things in Skypiea, as well as his past arc. Sanji is consistently proving himself to be a very cunning strategist. Sanji and Zoro are kind of in the same space, in that I feel like their characters are kind of stagnant and stale. Luffy, I give a pass because simplicity is his character. Zoro and Sanji, I feel like there's some stuff we could definitely get into, because for me personally, and I still enjoy them, but Zoro specifically, a lot of his fights feel just like hype moments and aura, which is fine, but I feel like there's some ground we could definitely tread there, and I would like to see. Also, am I crazy, or did we never see Zoro's backstory? I might be tripping. I might like literally have like forgotten, but I don't think we've ever seen Zoro's backstory. The only thing I remember from him is in Alabasta when he was a kid and he had the flashback of his old swordmaster, but I don't think there was the one girl that was like offhand mentioned. I don't know. I don't remember. There's definitely some things that I would like to see from Zoro and Sanji as well. So we will see. I'm looking forward to their characters kind of pushing the envelope. This arc is very big for Robin as well as Usopp's character. So just a small little nitpick that I have currently. We have Luffy versus Lucci. Now, Luffy versus Lucci, obviously we all knew that it was going to be the climax of the arc, but I did like how Luffy stepped up his game and you know, he was fighting more intelligent and he didn't beat Lucci with just raw strength. He did end up beating him with willpower, thanks to Usopp. Without Usopp's intervention, Luffy would have died. Now, Oda actually played off of this gag that Luffy didn't know that Sniper King was Usopp, and actually when he sees Usopp take his mask off when they're getting raided by the Navy, when the warships are actually arriving and a Buster Claw actually is activated, when Luffy sees Usopp, he's like, oh my god, Usopp, you came. He gets inspired once again, and Usopp's like, get up. What are you doing? Stop making me worry. We're not dead yet. Get up. this hit. Obviously, is it a friends and family power up? Yeah, man. We all love those tropes, and I liked it a lot. Luffy very rarely fights for himself. He's always fighting on behest of other people. And Luffy telling himself, I'm not getting knocked down until you're gone, until my people are safe. And I mean, they are just boxing, they're getting it in. Luffy hits that nigga with the two fists on his chest, just, yeah, the six king, whatever y'all say, yeah. Luffy said, basically saying it's like an impact dial, like he basically got shot. Like that they was going ham in this fight. We have Gear 3 as well, where Luffy will basically, I guess, inflate his bones and make them stronger, even though they're keeping their strength. He's inflating his bones, and they're not like getting like more fragile or anything like that. And basically, he'll make a giant fist, like a giant's foot. Like that's actually pretty cool. That's pretty sick. Unfortunately, though, it does turn him into a child, and he kind of says like regroup. He has to like basically refill himself with air. But nah, I mean, Luffy getting just absolutely destroyed, and he keeps getting back up, and Rob Lucci exhausting himself, and then he hits him with that jet Gatling. That was fucking raw, man. And the anime has a notable step up in the animation as well, just throughout the entire arc. In Long Ring Long Island, actually, I went to the anime, I was like, why is this in widescreen? And then actually looked it up. It's actually when One Piece went digital as opposed to traditional, like, hand-drawn 2D animation. And then we have Franky destroying the Pluton blueprints, saying that one of the world's biggest threats is just gone. Now, I'm sure that Franky knows what it is and how to actually make it, but as far as like the government coming after this thing, it's gone. And Mr. Tom's sacrifice wasn't in vain. It's just like it kept it out of the hands of people that would use it for nefarious deeds. One thing I did forget to mention is the fact that Aokiji actually was there at the original Buster call. Aokiji having a moral compass as well. He was like, whoa, he's like, they blew up the evacuation ship. He's like, that's insane. I would never do something like that. I like the fact that the Navy isn't all black and white. There actually are good people presumably in there. But I love how vast the world of One Piece feels, man. I know that sometimes like my eyes can glaze over. I have to focus sometimes. I'm like, dude, this is a lot of flashbacks. But I think overall they all serve the narrative so well. And yeah, after Rob Lucci is defeated, the Straw Hats are put into a corner, and they're like, well, what do we do? Like, the evacuation ship is gone. Luffy's stuck down at the bridge of hesitation. What are we gonna do? And Usopp tells Luffy, jump into the sea. And they're like, wait, what? Like, we're gonna die. Like, jump into the sea? The whirlpool? Are you crazy? And then Usopp, I believe, grabs Zoro, and he's like, no, you're not remembering. We have one other crewmate that we have with us. And the Straw Hats end up all jumping into the ocean, and the Merry-Go picks them up. And I'm like, the Merry-Go? I'm like, who's driving this? Who's driving the boat? I'm like, man, what? And there's nobody on it. And I'm like, oh, wow. And so we come to the end, and the Straw Hats make their getaway, and all their bounties have officially been placed on them. And man, after the gut punch of Robin saying she wants to, she actually has something to live for, and she confesses that she doesn't want to die. There are things that she wants to do, and she does want to go with the Straw Hats, her newfound family. Coming to the end of Enies Lobby with the Merry-Go's farewell was y'all saw the post. Guiezao put that on the screen. Man, dude, it takes a special kind of person to make me cry and make me emotional over a fictional boat, a piece of wood. Like this, this is not a sentient person. I mean, like it is, and it. Like the Merry-Go being retired and breaking in half, basically, it was rough. It wasn't until it apologized, until it says, I'm sorry. I wanted to take you all on so many more adventures. And Luffy saying, no, we're the ones who should be sorry. I'm not good at steering. Zoro and Sanji are dumb, and so they break things. I even ripped the mast. And we left Usopp to make the repairs, but he's not the best at it. And the Merry-Go saying, yes, but I was happy. Thank you all for caring for me. It doesn't help the fact that Oda repeatedly draws like rain and water on the Merry-Go's mast in a way that looks like tears. The day one of the Straw Hats dies is going to be very rough, but I mean, this was, yeah. Dude, I'm tired of One Piece making me cry, man. It's like a second time in a week that One Piece has made me cry. I'm over it. But overall, fantastic arc, man. This is probably the best arc in One Piece yet. I will say that Water 7 by itself, I think it was definitely like a solid 7.5, like 8 out of 10. But compiled with Enies Lobby, like this 10 out of 10 art. Fantastic. Everything you want is in here. Love this arc, man. My favorite gag probably in all of Enies Lobby was Luffy getting stuck between the buildings when Agua Laguna was coming in, and then Usopp and Zoro being stuck together, and Usopp sticking his nose in Zoro's face because Zoro says we gotta cut one of our hands off. Like that was funny. But overall, great arc, man. So Robin is now officially back with the crew. The Straw Hat Pirates are got some crazy bounties on them. They have made official enemies of over 170 nations, not just the government, but just all surrounding nations. Yeah, man, lots going down. We gotta get a new ship. Man. Also, Luffy's grandpa showed up. Garp, that's who that was? Somebody mentioned in the Alabasta video that they think that Luffy was, Garp had beaten some ideal into Luffy, and I was like, who is Garp? Who the fuck? And then, I mean, he looks exactly like an older Luffy, so are we gonna get lore on Luffy's parents? Or are we gonna get more lore on Garp? I hope so, but I mean, hey, given also Garp's age, I'm assuming he was around with Gold Roger, and I guess I would assume that he was one of Gold Roger's friends or something. I have no idea. But yeah, fresh start, and yeah, on to the next adventure. Wow, what an arc. I gotta say, just Oda did his thing. I ain't really got that much else to say after that. Thank you all so much for staying with me throughout this very long and tedious review of the Enies Lobby and Water 7 saga. I really appreciate all the support on these videos. I'm glad you guys are enjoying my One Piece journey with me. Coming up on 400 chapters, it doesn't even feel like it, man. I mean, this is... Oh, no, I'm on like 435. It doesn't even feel like it. Wow. Pretty soon I'm going to be coming up on the halfway point of One Piece. Sheesh. But yeah, it's me, boy Daffy, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this video. Please make sure you leave a like and subscribe. And let me know on your thoughts on the Water 7 saga. Do you guys like it? Do you hate it? Think it's overrated? Do you think it's underrated? What do you guys think? I'm very curious to see down below. Anyway, it's me, boy Daffy, guys. I will see you in the next video. Please make sure you guys take care of yourselves and have a damn good one. Peace.